Yes, I'm basing a booktube series on a meme. I am cringe and I am free. Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to the first episode of Two Nickels. You know that meme from Phineas and Ferb where Dr. Doofenshmirtz is like, if I had a nickel for every time, insert hyper-specific situation here, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. That kind of thing, I've taken this concept and turned it into a booktube video series. So, every video I'm going to be taking 2 books that are surprisingly similar. Emphasis on surprising. I didn't just want to focus on common tropes in books, or maybe less common tropes in books. Oh, wow, these shifters could recognize their real true mate at sight. I'm so surprised. No, these had to be a little bit more niche than that. And also, of course, it goes without saying, it's not a bad thing that these books are like each other. In fact, it's probably the opposite. If you know one of the books I'm talking about, you should probably go check out the other. You'll probably like that one too. So let's jump in. What super specific thing are we focusing on today? If I had a nickel for every time the protagonist's queer love interest was blind, privileged, and living in a society on the cusp of revolution, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yep, that's right. Both of our works today are queer speculative fiction involving love interests who are blind, privileged in some way, either outright royalty or that kind of capitalist, they might as well be royalty, and they live in societies that are on the cusp of revolution. In fact, these books are so similar that I could actually spoil both of them with the same sentence. I won't, obviously, but I could. Regardless, I was a big fan of both of these. I actually pointed it out to the authors because they both know of each other and they thought it was funny. So I'm pretty sure they're going to get a kick out of this one. But let's jump into the books proper. The first book is the sci-fi novella Glorious Day by Skye Kilaen. This features our guard Alcena, who at one point was a bodyguard to the princess, and they might have shared a kiss in the garden. But Alcena has since left and thinks that her feelings are unrequited until the princess, nervous about all the things stirring around, calls the old bodyguard back to her side. And Alcena has to fight these feelings with a new threat because she's been feeding the rebels information. And she's kind of caught because Princess's father is a total tyrant. But she's afraid that taking down the tyrant might accidentally take down the princess with him. It is great. It is pining, sapphic pining, which makes it better. It's awesome. I actually read this book in one sitting. Fun fact. My sister and I were waiting to go into a concert, and so we were sitting in the car because we didn't want to go in line yet, and I read this entire book, and then the battery stopped working. And we lucked out that someone else at the concert could restart the battery after the concert. So, this book has a really strange memory attached to it for me, but I really like the concept. It is a novella. There's not a ton of world building built in just because it's so short, but I really liked how the princess, who does have a name, but technically her name is this really long title thing that she doesn't actually like. So in a lot of cases, Alcena just refers to her as the princess. But I really liked the implications that the princess did, even if she didn't want to participate in this regime, and also that she is being underestimated because she's blind. There's a nursemaid specifically that babies her to no end, and the princess actually plays it up, will lean into it to play dumb just to piss off the nursemaid, or to make it harder for the nursemaid because there are things that she doesn't want to explain to the princess, even though the princess already knows, that kind of stuff. I like that little bit of, no, she's still a grown woman even though she's blind, you don't need to be doing this. And I really like that aspect. And like I said, there was a big spoilery moment, but that was a great scene. The best scenes are always the spoilers. I mean, it's that way everywhere. But I really liked the heart behind this book. I would I mean, I would always read longer sapphic space operas, let's be honest, but I would love to read a longer version of this. And in general, I liked the concept of the focus it put on the needs for restructuring. Like, this book didn't just be like, once the rebels overthrow everything, obviously everything will be okay after. It definitely admits that any kind of upheaval of a governmental system is actually going to come with a lot of problems and not automatically be the bigger, better future that you think it is. And I love that aspect. I love that kind of bit of realism in this gay sci-fi. It was awesome. And in general, it's a very quick read. Again, it's a novella. I would definitely pick it up if you're looking for more queer speculative work. Our second book for the second nickel is Otter Still by DN Bryn. This is a book in the shared universe of the author. It's like both a sequel to Once Stolen, but also its own series. So kind of like a dovetail series. Sure, let's go with that. This is all about a man named Ruben who has a parasite stuck to his neck because of plot things from the previous book. And he is searching for anyone that can help him get it off. Now, this is steampunk venom, so the parasite is sentient. Loved that, was really interested in that concept, and through his search for help, Ruben comes across a man named Tavish. Tavish is a Selkie, and he is, I believe, the younger child of this really rich, basically in charge family of this underwater city. I also like that Tavish is trans, but it's not like a giant thing, it just is. And while Tavish still does have to struggle with family members being dicks in a lot of different ways, it's not anything to do with the fact that he's trans. That's just, okay, it's a thing, we move on. Now, this one, like I mentioned before, isn't exactly monarchy. Tavish is not like literally a prince, but in the same way that Glorious Day was an indictment against the monarchy, this is an indictment against capitalism. This underwater city is just filled with corruption, and in a lot of cases, the people who are in the lower castes are literally in the lower levels, and they're living in squalor, and a lot of people are unhappy about this. And Tavish is trying to do the right thing, but the general consensus is that he's too blind to know that all of his charity work isn't actually doing as much as he thinks it is. Metaphorically, too blind, as in is completely unaware that his actions aren't doing as much as he thinks they are. Not literally, you get it. And a big part of the relationship between Ruben and Tavish is that Tavish cares a lot, and Ruben doesn't want to care. He wants to be selfish. He's kind of been, beaten down by life, and he doesn't want to pick up another cause as his own, especially when that cause, as he discovers it in this underwater city, could directly put the Selkie dude he has feelings for in a bind. And I love that concept again, that, this revolution could have an unintended consequence for a person that is undoubtedly benefiting from the corrupt system, but is not directly trying to continue or uphold the system. I loved all of the, they had a lot, the description of Tavish's room and what a blind person's room in this world might look like was really cool. And I am always a sucker. I'm always a sucker for that I'm too cool to care character growing to care. And of course, Tavish is eager and earnest, and the eager, earnest characters are some of my favorites. Honestly, I think Tavish, out of all of the books I've read for DN Bryn, which is 4 at this point, Tavish is probably the character that I can see myself the most in. Just this idea of he wants to help so badly, and he doesn't quite realize that he's probably not doing what he thinks he is, and he has to come to grips with who his family actually is, because again, this family that accepted him for his transness wholeheartedly is also doing a ton of other shit. And he has to accept things and have a reckoning with things and is just so eager and wants to do well. And of course the romance is so cute. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of felt like a tease at times because it was all fade to black scenes, but like it teased physical stuff a lot for having fade to black scenes. Like it was a lot. These two are very tactile. Regardless, I was a really big fan of this one. I actually did a review of it. I will have that down in the link below. It's much longer than Glorious Day, but definitely worth it. Even if my dumb world building brain did not fully comprehend how this underwater city of Selkies worked, I still liked it. And now we all have 2 theoretical nickels. I think that's how this works. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you know of any other books that would fit into this very small niche of a queer, blind, privileged love interest in a society on the cusp of revolution, please let me know, because I think it would be so cool and or funny to find out that there's like a ton of books with this premise, because I love it. Both of these books did such a great job of including the character's disability without making it like inspo porn, and they did such a great job of delving into like the intricacies of what do you do when this revolution that will make things better for everyone might hurt this specific person you care about. Like, I love those kind of moral dilemma stuff. So if you know of any other books, please let me know. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.